Hello, and welcome back to the Sad Fan, where we talk about the good, the bad, and everything that made you sad from the previous week. And first off, we've got to address Anthony Joshua. Obviously, hearts, minds, prayers, whatever you believe in, go out to him because terrible car accident taking two of his friends in Africa, tearing apart half of a vehicle. Is pretty insane. Regardless of what happened or what led to it, you've got to feel for him and for those families because obviously you never expect something like that to happen, especially after a major payday for Anthony Joshua that was the Paul fight. So hearts, minds, prayers, whatever you're comfortable with, go out to Joshua, his family, and the family of his friends. Now, typically we lead the way with NFL or college football, but right now, I mean, it takes way too long for us to get these college football games going. It takes 10 years, it feels like, for these playoffs to start. So let's start in European football, and let's start with, of course, Aston Villa. Let's start with them after they have now won 11 games straight. Again, all exciting, too. Even the most recent game against Chelsea, we've got a game against Arsenal coming up as I'm recording this. Obviously, it's going to be on Tuesday. But the game against Chelsea, an incredibly exciting game, an incredibly exciting way to end that game. But that has been their path to these 11 wins. It's been exciting game after exciting game after exciting game. Comeback wins, winning in the margins, winning late in games, just everything that makes a champion a champion. And you cannot say that this team is a flash in the pan after 11 wins in a row. You just can't. It's impossible. This time with Ollie Watkins coming through for the team in the clutch. And of course, it wouldn't be without giant, enormous saves from Emi Martinez that have got this team to where it's at. Obviously, we started the season with me ranting and raving, telling them to figure out the defense, telling them to figure out how to stop other teams, how to run that high line, how to get the right players in the right position to win. Well, I apologize to Unai Emery, and I apologize for questioning the strategy at the beginning of the season. Didn't start off the way last year did. And shame on me for immediately coming out and judging the plan because, wow, this plan has come together. This team looks phenomenal. Aston Villa is third in the table as we speak. Like I said, they've got Arsenal tonight. I'm hoping for a big, huge win. We'll see what happens. I hope that they continue to climb upwards on this vertical trajectory that we have had in recent weeks. Let's get to American football. All right, does anyone want to win the Super Bowl this year? Like, seriously, are there any teams that actually want to win the Super Bowl this year? Because we get flashes from Buffalo, we get flashes from New England, who could be the best team. I mean, they certainly look it, but it doesn't ever appear like any team actually wants to win. As the season has progressed, you've had the Jaguars start off the season slow and launch towards the top. You had the Buccaneers start off fast and fizzle late. The Dolphins are doing everything they can to not get a top 10 draft pick. And the Bengals are deciding to turn on late. Now, granted, they were without a Joe Burrow for quite some time. But all of that to say, I don't know that there's any team that actually wants to win the Super Bowl this year. And on top of that, we may have had our most exciting game of the year on Sunday Night Football between the 49ers and the Chicago Bears. That game was absolutely phenomenal. It was some of the most fun we've had all season long watching football. The 49ers, I mean, they very well could be the team to beat as well, just like the New England Patriots. Right now, they found a way to get their team back into contention for their division in the final week of the season. And we've got three big, huge, giant games to include San Francisco against the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle, I don't even know what they are. They've got a winning record. It just reminds me so much of the Minnesota Vikings that were quarterbacked by Sam Darnold last year, where you don't really know what they're capable of, if they've already peaked, if they can continue to win games that they shouldn't win, if they're going to limp their way to a playoff win. I just don't know what Seattle actually is. They're a defense, that's for sure. They've got a great wide receiver in Smith and Jigba. Sam Darnold is serviceable. They've got a great running game, but can that get them a playoff win? I don't know. And we're going to see when they play the San Francisco 49ers. This division has been the best division in football. I said this last week. I'm going to say it again. The Rams, even though they lost an insane game to Atlanta this week, the Rams look very good when they're on top of things. Sean McVay is a Super Bowl winning coach. That is something that Shanahan is not. That is something that Mike McDonald is not. So he's got the upper hand there. He's been able to get it done before. Stafford has been able to get it done before. Stafford is a former number 1 overall pick. Brock Purdy is a former Mr. Irrelevant. Sam Darnold was given up on. He's a former top 10 pick, but no one thought he would be able to come back from the New York Jets. And here he is, his second winning season in a row. So obviously there is something there. But I would trust the Los Angeles Rams over either of these teams right now. As much as I love Shanahan's play calling, I love Shanahan's ability to win games despite hundreds of injuries, right? Obviously, I exaggerate, but that team is always the most injured team in the league, and somehow that team is always in contention, and they're there again. The NFC West is impossibly difficult, and that's why they have 3 teams in the playoffs. The Los Angeles Rams is my pick in that division to be the best team in the playoffs. San Francisco looked very good against Chicago. And Chicago, there's obviously something with Chicago because they went out and won a very tough division in the NFC North. Caleb Williams looks really good as he's being coached by Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson has put together some scary game plans that attack, yield not. So I think that this team is a team that can be scary. But the Rams are a team that has looked at times like the best team in the NFL. And it's hard for me to go against that as I look at this division and I try to see who's going to be the best team as we get ready to enter the playoffs out of this division. Another big game we've got this weekend is Tampa Bay against Carolina. Somehow, against all odds, mediocre at best Carolina team has made it to the top of the NFC South. And now they're going to face what used to be the red hot Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Right now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are floundering. I don't know what is happening. They're dropping passes. They're not making plays. Baker Mayfield is having to run all over the field to make things happen. And I don't know what happened to this team that looks so good. Last week I said that they need to get it together on defense. They need to figure out what is going on the defensive side of the ball. And that falls on Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles is a defensive coordinator. He's already been a head coach in this league. This is his second opportunity to make something happen. And he did have a team that could make some noise, but now obviously we're all questioning that. I mean, they've been in games, but where they were winning games late, they're losing games late. Carolina is winning the games late. Carolina, though, got worked by Seattle, so we don't know what Carolina is. Carolina is honestly the luckiest team in the NFL this year. And Tampa is the unluckiest team in the NFL this year outside of the Green Bay Packers. They're very injured. They've been very injured all year. They haven't been able to get all the pieces that they have on the field at the same time. And their offensive line has been hit or miss for Baker Mayfield. They're always, like I said, in games late, but they're always having to win games late. They haven't won a game outright since the beginning of the season. I don't know that they won a game outright at the beginning of the season. They were that team that was making comeback wins. As I say all this, I think Tampa Bay wins this game. I just don't think Carolina can do it. I don't think Carolina is real at all, and I don't think anyone thinks Carolina is real. This is a great season for Carolina, but this is the end of the road for Carolina, but they're going to take a lot of momentum into next year. So I take that for what it's worth. The end of the season has been a mismatch of all kinds of different teams winning games they should lose and all kinds of teams losing games they should win. This season has been filled with so much parity that it's literally impossible to call accurately. But Tampa Bay, with the force of Baker Mayfield, with the coaching experience of Todd Bowles, should be the team to beat in that division, and they should walk away with that division. Tampa Bay is going to win the NFC South, and they're going to enter the playoffs. Hopefully they're able to take advantage of this home game that they're going to get when they get into the playoffs and win a game and get themselves together, get their lives together. A second ago, I mentioned the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers, I thought, looked like the best team in the NFL the first few weeks of the season. And they had all the makings of a team that could make a seriously deep run. But right now, you're seeing the Packers waver on whether or not Love is going to start the final game of the season. They may just start Malik Willis because he's had such a hot hand in recent weeks, which is crazy because he's a free agent next year. He may start for a team next year. And this is his chance to audition. You remember what happened with Matt Flynn. Matt Flynn got paid a ton of money to go to Seattle and not play because Russell Wilson got the starting job, but he got that job by being so impressive in Green Bay. Green Bay has an ability to take these backup quarterbacks and turn them into something. Now, outside of that storyline, Green Bay doesn't have much going for them. They are another team that's limping into the playoffs. They're another team that we don't quite know what they are right now. They're very injured. They lost their best defensive player, and we don't know how they're going to fare going into the playoffs. I see a first-round exit in their future. I see a first-round exit in the future of the Chicago Bears as well. So we're going to see what happens there. But overall, this division is not – there's no Super Bowl champion in this division. There's no Super Bowl contender in this division. Chicago Bears did a great job under first-year head coach Ben Johnson to make it as far as they did, to do as well as they did. It's just they're just too young right now. They're a fun team to watch, and it's good for Chicago to have a fun team to watch because they haven't had that in a very long time. Even the Rex Grossman Chicago Bears were not a fun team to watch. They were a hardcore defensive team that made it on the back of the defense to the Super Bowl. This team, if Ben Johnson can keep it up, if the league doesn't catch up to him like it caught up to Miami's Mike McDaniels, this team has a strong opportunity to be very good for a very long time. But again, that division's very tough. Detroit's going to come back next year. I already stated that last week. Minnesota, they're going to have a tough defense year in and year out. They just have to figure out the offensive piece, and they will. Green Bay is going to have a very good team for years to come. So this division is going to be very tough. It's going to be very hard to replicate the success of what the Lions did last year and what Chicago's been able to do this year in that division. It's going to be one of those divisions that over the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to have contenders come in, come out, come in, come out. You're going to have top of the division to the bottom of the division, bottom of the division to the top of the division in the NFC North. But I'm going to stand by what I said. There's no Super Bowl champion and there's no Super Bowl contender in this division this year. Just have fun with what you have. Have fun with the Chicago Bears being an exciting team this year. Have fun seeing Green Bay make it to the playoffs again and get ready for next year. Finally, the lowly NFC East with just the Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl champions, entering the playoffs. Philly, they probably should be 10-6 right now, in all honesty. They pulled out a game against Buffalo. We're going to get to Buffalo here in a minute. Buffalo can't figure out what they want to be either. But Philly, they're also looking at a team ready to implode with Jalen Hurts doing what he's doing, A.J. Brown doing what he's doing, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown almost competing with their offensive coordinator, with their running back for attention from the team. Jalen Hurts trying to maintain a hold on the team. It just looks like a team that's ready to implode. It looks like a team that's done. So after saying all of these things about the Philadelphia Eagles, I think that they are going to go far. Why? Because they find a way to grind out games. They find a way, like they did against Buffalo, to grind their opponents into dust and somehow come away with a victory. I don't see them making it all the way to the Super Bowl, but I see them making it very tough for any team they play. I think that they're going to be able to possibly make it to the NFC Championship again this year. I just don't see them making it to the Super Bowl this year. Eventually, something's got to give. And that thing that's going to give is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. So if you've been listening closely, that means I truly believe that your Super Bowl contender from the NFC is going to come out of the NFC West. Whether it be San Francisco, Los Angeles, or Seattle, one of those three teams is going to be the team that represents the NFC in the Super Bowl. All right, on to the AFC. Obviously, we're going to start in the AFC West, where the Raiders are going to have the number 1 overall draft pick. I'm not a huge believer in Fernando Mendoza. I'm hoping that it's a lot of smoke and the Raiders are looking to trade out of that first overall pick. I really am. I'd rather look to next year's quarterback class than this year. This year is not a good quarterback class. But Raiders stood no chance, and they have nothing at any level. They have no linebacker. They have no cornerback. They have Max Crosby on the defensive line, and that's it. They have no wide receivers. They have a rookie running back that's shown flashes and a tight end, and that is all. There's no offensive line. This team is broken. And I would still put them on the field with the Denver Broncos because I don't believe in the Denver Broncos in any way at all. I don't think that the Denver Broncos stand any chance to be any type of good. in the playoffs. I think the Denver Broncos have skated by with luck this year. They've found a way to win games that they should have lost. That, for me, is a recipe for disaster as they enter the playoffs. Los Angeles Chargers are one of the most injured teams in the NFL as well. AFC West, it's not looking up for the AFC West. I would like to see the Los Angeles Chargers do a little something because that team has been nothing since 1994. But maybe they do something. Maybe they shake, rattle, and roll their way into a second round playoff game, but I doubt it. How about the AFC South and the Jacksonville Jaguars? Like I said, the brink of death at the beginning of the season, and now they're one of the best teams as far as record is concerned in the NFL. Houston Texans, brink of death at the beginning of the season, somehow one of the best teams in the NFL. Well, not somehow. That defense is absolutely insane. That defense was just waiting for the offense to catch up to what it was capable of. And then, of course, we had the Colts that I really believed in, and somehow injuries tanked their season. They went all in during the trade deadline to try to put a team on the field that could compete. And they did nothing but lose after the trade deadline. It was almost like the Philadelphia Eagles of years ago signing the all-star team, to quote Vince Young, and doing nothing. That's what we just saw out of this team in Indianapolis, and I feel terrible for them. Jonathan Taylor had an insane season. That offensive line had a great year, but they couldn't put all the pieces together. And even the move of bringing Phillip Rivers back, they made all the wrong moves for all the right reasons. They thought it would give them a chance to compete, and it just didn't. And that team floundered and then eventually got eliminated from the playoff race as they led the league for a huge portion of the season. It's insane what happened in Indianapolis, and it's even more insane what Jacksonville's been able to do in the midst of Indianapolis's losing streak. So Jacksonville, I think, can make some noise. I don't trust them, and I don't trust Houston, so I don't think any team in this division is going to be a representative from the AFC. We've got the AFC North, the hapless AFC North. Somehow, Pittsburgh allowed Baltimore to hang around they did. And now Baltimore finds themselves on the brink of eliminating the Pittsburgh Steelers from the playoff race. And I think they're going to do it. Baltimore, even though their record is bad, even though their defense has been bad, it looks like a scary team if they can get that offense rolling like it did last week with Derrick Henry scoring 4 touchdowns. This team looks really scary, and I believe in a team that can grind you down, like I just said about Philadelphia. I don't think they're your representative for the AFC in the Super Bowl, but I do think this team is going to take you into the deep water. They don't have to rely on their defense if they can have a ball control offense. And that's what you can have with Lamar Jackson. That's what you can have with Derrick Henry running the ball like he did last week. And that's what's going to get you far. Don't rely on that defense. The defense hasn't been good this year. So grind your opponents to dust. Lean on your running game. Lean on that Lamar Jackson dink and dunk game until something opens up downfield. The Baltimore Ravens are going to win the AFC North. And the Baltimore Ravens could be a scary team in the playoffs, but they're not the team. So what team is going to represent the AFC in the playoffs? Well, even though they lost last week in a game they should have won, I'm going to ride the Buffalo Bills until they get eliminated from the playoffs. Yes, New England is going to win that division. Yes, New England very well could be the 1 seed in the AFC. But I just don't think that this team is there yet. They couldn't put away Buffalo earlier in the season, and now we find them in the 1 seed, and I think that break's going to do more harm than good. I think they can put themselves in a position to lose in their first game of the playoffs. However, I think Buffalo has been put to the test. I just think McDermott, like I said last week, to pull his head out of his ass. If McDermott can pull his head out of his ass and figure out how to coach this defense, Buffalo will win the Super Bowl this year. If McDermott can't do that, McDermott will be the reason why Buffalo does not win the Super Bowl this year. Josh Allen can turn it on. I know we didn't see it last week, but it can happen. This team can be scary. I think it's the Buffalo Bills that are going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl this year. I'm so excited to talk to you guys more about the NFL and the playoffs coming up. I'm so excited to talk to you guys more about the Premier League and Aston Villa. But we'll save all that for next week because we're going to see you next time.
Back to the block, I'm scamming. Back in the shop, I'm scamming. Get it off a dummy, I'm scamming.